What's going on, everybody? Shonen Express here, coming to you with another weekly Shonen Jump newsletter. I'm a little bit late getting this one out, but not, hopefully I didn't set y'all back too much, but I am here with the weekly newsletter now. So let's just get right into it. So first of all, the cover went to My Hero Academia this week. In kind of like a weird setup. Usually the cover also gets the lead color page, but this week it was actually different, with a different manga getting the lead color page. Obviously, we'll go into that in a minute, but the cover itself went to My Hero Academia. And the cover art, you can see, I have it up on the screen there, with Deku and Shigaraki kind of with their hands clasped. It's interesting. It's an interesting design. Not the coolest cover art I think that we've seen in a while, but good nonetheless. It's a good cover. Looks good. But getting into the meat of that chapter, first of all, Star and Stripe is awesome. I think she is a great character. I love her backstory. And just like her initiative and gung-ho nature. I love the little speech she gives to the pilots that are flying the Nighthawks that she's riding on. Saying, like, if you die, I will make sure that I bring your bodies back to your families. Like, that is intense. That is an intense reaction there, but she does it. She's obviously really cool. I think she's a really cool character, and a great hero, and I'm very glad that she was introduced here. And this battle is incredibly intense. I mean, Shigaraki is powered up a ton. Even the very first move that we see him use is devastatingly powerful. I mean, Shigaraki is an amazingly powerful person. And so I'm very interested to see, the rest of this battle and to see him in the story in the future. But the main part of this chapter that I think we got is the learning of how Star and Stripe's quirk works. Her quirk is called New Order, and it works based on anything she touches and calls its name, she can give a rule to, and it must follow that rule. This is an insane quirk. To be clear, this means that she has the ability to change, like, the fundamental laws of nature to suit what she was. I love that she obviously takes the air out of a certain area around Shigaraki, but even then grabbing the laser was really cool. There's a lot of really cool moments with her using this quirk. This is clearly the most powerful quirk we've ever seen in the series. I don't think that All For One was at all off the mark when he said, this quirk, if we acquire this one, the rest of the war is a formality. Now, if I had to make a guess, I think that they actually will, that All For One will acquire her quirk. I think that will happen. Because it makes the stakes higher. It makes a harder hurdle for Deku to get over, who will eventually be the hero that takes it all on. But this quirk is amazing. This quirk is, in my opinion, by far the most powerful quirk that we've seen in the entire series so far. So it made this a great chapter to learn about new things in this world and new developments like that. And then I liked the loophole at the end of how Shigaraki got out of the problem of if he moves, he couldn't breathe, the rule that she set up, by the fact that All For One is a part of Shigaraki now, and he's not quite sure which one he is at the moment. I thought that was super interesting, and so overall, this was a really good chapter. I'm glad I got the cover. My Hero Academia, this arc in My Hero Academia is certainly picking up. I have high hopes for this manga right now, so I'm excited. I'm excited to move forward with it. But moving on, we have the lead color page. So normally the lead color page goes to one of whatever manga got the cover, but this week it was different and it went to Me and Roboko, which I'm very glad it went to Me and Roboko. But I love the little page that they explain what's happening. The Me and Roboko characters are explaining it, saying essentially the editors didn't think Me and Roboko was popular enough to carry the cover of the magazine, and so it got the lead color page but without the cover. And so it's interesting. The lead color page itself, the double page spread, is really good. I love it. I love seeing these characters in color. I think for the first time, I'm not totally sure. There could have been a color page in the past where we've seen them, but this was really cool. I like seeing it. I like Bondo holding that cover with the dream of hopefully we make the cover someday. I thought that was really, really good, really funny. But as far as getting into the chapter. I don't have a whole lot to say about this chapter. I like Roboko's interpretation of what the construction robot guy was saying when he was simply saying, don't walk this way, or this road will be closed. She's like interpreting it in all these different ways. I thought that was funny. I loved the moment where Bondo like wakes up out of his sleep and is like, please just let me sleep. I thought that was hilarious. I think Bondo was really funny there. That panel was hilarious to look at. And then, I like the moment where Roboko says, I have to stay with them, with Bondo, with his family, the Tyra family, and all of their friends. I have to stay here because this is my purpose. So, it was good. It was a good chapter. Nothing, I would say, super amazing, but it was certainly a good Me and Roboko chapter, and I'm glad it got some recognition as the lead color page. I am glad that it got that. But the second color page in the magazine this week went to Dr. Stone, which has been getting a ton of color pages, which is good. The color page itself is really good. I liked it. Boichi tends to draw these kind of busy color pages. I think he tries to put a lot into them in explaining what is kind of going on in the manga, but that may or may not be necessary. But either way, I think it was a good color page. I'm glad that Dr. Stone got highlighted again, because we are in, supposedly, the final arc of this series. First of all, getting into the meat of the chapter, Senku and Ryusui are so cool. That moment where you see the flash come right up on Senku's nose, and he doesn't move or flinch because he knows it's only going to go that 20 meters. That was so cool. I love that they're able to figure this out. This was such a good payoff to the twist that we got last week. I'm so excited that this is how this panned out, because honestly, last week I was like, all is lost. I don't know how we're going to recover from this if Y-Man set it up. But now we don't know who set it up, and that almost makes it more of a problem. We got to figure out who set this, who triggered this, the Medusa to work like this. So I'm super interested to see what happens from that. I like the project of trying to pinpoint Y-Man somewhere on the moon. Obviously, the moon's a huge surface, so to just say he's on the moon is not very helpful. You got to pinpoint where he is. So they're working on that, and to do that, they created the television. Well, sort of to do that, but also to keep an eye on that Medusa that they've locked away there. So we got the creation of the TV, which was really cool. I really like that picture of Senku holding his thumb up, kind of all wavy, like an original analog TV. That was really cool. But yeah, it was a good chapter. It was a very good chapter. I'm glad I got the color page, and I'm just excited about Dr. Stone now. It's just a very exciting time in this manga, especially with it possibly ending in the near future. So I'm a Dr. Stone fan. I'm excited. And the third color page this week went to Ayakashi Triangle, which doesn't usually get the color page, so it was good that it got it this week. Now, you might have noticed that I usually show the color pages on the screen when I talk about them. I'm a little afraid to show this color page here on YouTube. I don't quite understand the restrictions on YouTube videos yet, and so I'm not totally clear if I can show the color page. But if you really are interested in it and you want to go check it out, just go to the Viz website on the latest chapter and you'll see the color page right away. And it was a really good color page. I liked the Halloween theme. It was fun. With Matsuri and Suzu kind of dressed up in their costumes. It was a fun color page, a very well drawn color page. The colors looked great. So, Ayakashi Triangle's artwork is usually pretty good, and the color page was no exception. But if you want to see that, go check it out. Else, on the Viz website there. But as far as getting into the chapter, this was a really good Ayakashi Triangle chapter. I'm very glad that this is the one that got the color page so I could highlight it. Hinojiki is really cool. This monster in his stomach that's coming out is super cool. I'm so excited to see more of that and see kind of where that's gonna go. I loved the look of that. It was so cool. I like that Hinojiki is going to clearly become an ally in the near future. So I really like that. I also loved that the grandpa, Matsuri's grandpa, stands up like he's going to fight, and then he just collapses. He doesn't actually do anything. It's such a play on the whole shonen trope of the old man being incredibly powerful, but then he's not. He's just a weak and frail old man like we thought he was. And so it was funny. It was a funny role reversal there from normal shonen shows. I love the mirror world solution. So they end up taking Hinojiki and pretty much the rest of the cast into the mirror world and leaving Matsuri outside in the real world because Matsuri can't fight right now. He's got the that suppressing marks that are suppressing his wind jutsu. So he can't fight right now. So I like the solution by Suzu to do that. But what I like even better is that final page where the fake Mei says that Suzu thinks she's protected Matsuri and that she can hide here, but really she's the target. I think that's interesting. I look forward to reading next week. I'm interested to see where this manga goes, and obviously Mei is a very intimidating villain that we've got in this series. So I'm just excited to experience more of Ayakashi Triangle. It was a good chapter. So that brings me to my highlights this week, and this week I have 3 highlights for you. And those the first one. The first one to highlight, or rather, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing this out of order. First of all, let's talk about new ending and breaks. There wasn't anything new. Nothing ended, but One Piece was on break. This is kind of normal. We know that One Piece, just about every other week is going to be on break. So this is no surprise to see One Piece on break, which is fine. Oda can take as long as he wants to do what he's got to do. That's not a problem at all. But my highlights, the first highlight this week is Mashle, Magic, and Muscles. This chapter was really, really good. So first of all, the fight that we see in the beginning between some of those Order members and the main villain right now of this arc, whose name is escaping me. That was a really cool fight. It was a really great fight. I loved seeing it. They were cool. If you haven't read this, definitely go and read it because it's a very cool fight scene, especially for a manga that I would say artwork-wise is not, quite as detailed. This was a very detailed fight scene, so I really, really liked seeing it. So definitely go check that out if you haven't already. And I love the differences, right? Essentially, at this point, MASH and the villain here are like brothers, right? So as far as I understand, correct me in the comments if I'm totally off base on that, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. So they're essentially like brothers here. And so they couldn't be more different. One has an immense amount of magic power. The other has none. I love these moments when the maid comes in and says something like he's going to be unprecedented magic and MASH is going to be an unprecedented carpenter. They were really funny moments that I liked. But honestly, one of the things that I wanted to highlight this chapter for was MASH as a baby being incredibly physically strong. So I think, and please in the comments, if I'm messing this up, correct me, but I thought that MASH's strength came from his workout regimen, his routine, and his training throughout his life. I didn't think that was a natural, inborn, superpower, which it seems like he has now. I don't know if now the author is trying to push us in that direction to think MASH was always just this super baby. He didn't work hard, but I kind of liked it better when he had to pump the iron himself. He had to work hard himself. I almost like that better. And so I was a little disappointing, honestly, with the end of that chapter. But overall, it was a funny chapter. That beginning fight was amazing. So definitely a good MASH chapter. I just have questions about MASH as a character now after reading that. So my second highlight this week is actually Witch Watch, which I feel like I don't often highlight if it doesn't get the color page. But I felt like I wanted to highlight this, honestly, principally from a cultural level, we might say. But why I say that is because this chapter really pointed out the difference in generations of manga and anime readers and watchers, right? Because in my time, I'm 25 years old, and so in my time, when I was 10 was when I got into Dragon Ball Z, right? And so at the time, and then I got into Naruto and Bleach and all this stuff. By the time I was in middle school, I had read, all of Naruto that had come out. I'd read a lot of Bleach. I'd done Death Note before. Full Metal Alchemist I was already in. So I was deep in this manga fandom when I was very, very young, in even middle school. But I remember being embarrassed about it, not telling anybody that I was into this. And then every once in a while you'd find somebody else that they let something slip, or you let something slip, that told the other person, hey, I'm into this stuff too. And then you could kind of get along and talk about that stuff together. And luckily for me, I had my best friend, who's still my best friend, but my best friend growing up, we always got into this stuff together. So we had each other like that. But this chapter really highlighted the difference in the generations. I think that newer fans of manga, newer fans of anime aren't afraid to say, yeah, I'm really into this show, I'm really into this volume, this manga, I really like this stuff. And I thought that this chapter really did an interesting job of showing that. And I think telling my generation of manga fans, it's okay to say, I like this. It's okay to not be embarrassed about this. It's a cool thing. Which is a message that I can get behind, and I think we should hear more. So that's why, honestly, why I wanted to highlight this. But even more, chapter specific, I like that the student knows that the teacher is the commenter online. I thought that was funny. Like, she knew the whole time. That was really funny. And then I loved the little bit at the end where the four main characters fly by on the broom and are like, where's our page space? Where's our time? That was really funny too. So it was a funny chapter. A lot of the humor was based on that whole concept of manga fans, differing in this way. So I liked it a lot. I definitely did. But I wanted to highlight it simply because I think I'd like to bring up this fact and at least start a conversation about the difference between the manga fans and the difference between the generations of manga fans that go on here. So if you have something to say, please leave it in the comments. I want to hear about it. I want to dialogue with you. If you are more of my generation, you've been a manga fan for a long time, or at least 10ish years, let me know. Are you embarrassed to talk about this with other people, face to face? If you're not, if you're younger, tell me why you're not. I'd love to engage with you on that. But moving on, because this is a weekly newsletter, not a philosophical discussion, we'll move on to my third highlight, my final highlight this week. And again, I will say, like I did with Black Clover last week, if I could put one manga on the top of the pile this week, it'd be this one. And that is the Hunters Guild Red Hood. You see it in the thumbnail. If you read this manga, you know that last panel, that my thumbnail is from the last panel of this chapter. It was really good. It was really good, and it was a good chapter for a series that I think needs a good chapter. It's not a very long series so far. We're pretty early in the run of this series. I'm a little worried, honestly, that it's going to get canceled based on the trajectory that I'm seeing it head in. But this chapter was really good, and if something's going to revitalize this manga, I think it's this chapter exactly. First of all, that giant wolf that we saw before, Lycone, I think they called him. The witch called him. That whole wolf was just not real. He's gone. He's written out of existence. And it looks like the wolf was actually written out of existence based on these pages. And the page that the wolf leaves behind with the witch saying, if I disappear, if you don't see a giant wolf next to you and you can't remember me, he's taken the pages and gone rogue. The mayor is insane. I really loved this conspiracy theory. I loved when we saw that the mayor was actually alive and then he was actually in league with that giant wolf and the little witch girl. I really liked that development, and I was so looking forward to seeing how this would play out, and this is how it played out. We got a ton of lore about this world. First of all, there is a book, and I don't know if I would say it's a magic book or something, but it's a book of the origins of everything. And what's in this book, the story in this book, is the reality that is out there, but 2 pages were stolen from it. And those 2 pages, I believe, are now in the possession of the mayor, who is trying to restore history in a certain way. And what we see is the mayor actually saying that there were dragons long ago, and I wrote them out of existence. Long ago, 500 years ago, I think he says, I wrote dragons out of existence, and I will do it again in this way. this is so interesting. This is really interesting because I'm looking forward to how this story goes forward, how it progresses in the narrative, and this little play on, the idea of story structure influencing a story itself is super interesting to me. So I'm just looking forward to reading more of the Hunter's Guild Red Hood. I think it's a really good manga, and I want to read more of it. But that's all my highlights. To go on to my mentions this week, because I do have several, because a lot of things were good this week. Definitely Undead Unluck, great. Stuff with Spring, awesome. Black Clover, is tearing it up. Go read it. P6, which is what I'm just going to call this from now on, is very artsy, and if you're into artsy kind of things, definitely go for it. It was good this week. Sakamoto Days, another really good. The fight scene was amazing. Blue Box, I can't not mention Blue Box. I just love this manga so much. I can't highlight it every week, but I wish I could because it's really good. Mago-chan God of Destruction was hilarious this week with the shark, and Mission Yozakura family is still on this arc, dealing with the dad and all of that stuff, so it's also really, really good. I just, I've highlighted it the past several weeks. I didn't want to do it again here, so, yeah, but with that, that's all I have for you today, guys. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked anything I had to say, like the video and subscribe to my channel. I bring these newsletters every single week, along with the Pillow Fort podcast that I'm doing with Kate. We're doing that, The next section will be the Syrup Village arc of One Piece, so that should be on the lookout for that. And so we're a little behind in that. We're about a week late on that, but definitely be on the lookout for that. We're going to be putting those out too. Like I said, like and subscribe, and until next time, this is Shonen Express signing out.